Welcome back. This is our second video in our series, How to Be a Good Support Person in Labor. My name is Jamie. I'm a midwife. I've been attending births for over a decade. So in order to be a good support person during labor, it's important to understand the different phases of labor and how they unfold. So the two main ones we're going to talk about today is early labor and active labor. Early labor can also be confused with prodromal labor, which is a series of contractions that may go on for a couple hours that don't actually turn into active labor and may fizzle out, or it may be early labor that then turns into active labor. What early labor looks like is it may not be obvious that it is labor right away. Mom might feel some cramping. She may be noticing contractions. Maybe they're inconsistent. Maybe she can time them, but they're spaced far apart. She's able to go about day-to-day activities without being too distracted by them. Maybe she's aware that they're happening, but they're not stopping her in her foot tracks and taking all of her energy to get through. My best advice to first-time parents and people supporting first-time parents is when early labor starts, imagine that 24 hours later is when pushing will begin for that baby, and to pace yourself accordingly, right? Birth does not often happen fast and furious like it does in the movies. It's often a long process. So it's important to think of labor like a marathon, pacing yourself with energy and rest, as well as the mom. The first things, of course, to pay attention to in early labor. Make sure mom has her bag packed, ready to go to the hospital. Once you've made sure that's done, make sure that the mom is resting and eating to conserve energy as much as possible. If you are a friend or family member that does not live with the mom, it's important to not go over too early. It's best that everybody kind of ignores things while it's easy to ignore and things are not ramping up yet. It's important not only for the mom to conserve energy, but the people supporting the mom, because like I said, tomorrow it's going to be a lot of work, and it may be a lot of work in the middle of the night. You don't want to be exhausted when your physical and emotional presence is needed most. So what time does it make sense to join the mom? And there's no fast and hard rule about this. If you live close by, it's during the day, maybe it is worth stopping in, checking in with the mom, just making it known that you're available for her, and then going back and carrying on until things become more serious and more active. Active labor is when the labor shifts from this kind of early, inconsistent, easier contractions to the more intense, consistent contractions that maybe now are taking a lot of work, are stopping the mom in her tracks. They're becoming regular. Maybe they're 5 minutes apart, maybe they're 6 minutes apart, maybe they're even 4 minutes apart. Some moms choose to stay at home and labor at home longer in an effort to avoid interventions. And if she's low risk, staying at home as long as possible might be an option that you all can consider and talk about, and may provide more tools to work with for helping mom cope with labor, such as shower, bath, birth balls, etc. If mom is planning a hospital birth, the point at which to go to the hospital is when contractions are taking all of her energy and focus and she cannot answer a question during a contraction. Between contractions, moms will be fine. They can carry on conversation, act as if they're not in labor. It's during the contraction that you want to gauge the intensity of it. Once you get to the hospital, moms will typically go to triage. Often the partner is allowed to be in triage with mom, but additional support people may be asked to wait in the waiting room during this time. So now when you're in active labor, that's when you really need to be all hands on deck to help support mom, especially if she's planning a natural birth. This is when she's going to want more pressure, more massage, more position changes. Things just feel really intense. And your job is to make the environment calm and not distracting to her. So turn off any unnecessary lights. If it's daytime, pull the blinds down. If she brought music or has a Bluetooth speaker, put on some music for mom. Your role is not only to protect her environment, but to be reassuring and a calming presence. This also may be the time, if the mom is planning on using medication, that she's going to want to be asking for the epidural or the IV pain meds or whatever is available. And your role is still important during this time. It's not surprising for moms to feel a sudden burst of energy once they have that relief from the epidural. Maybe they've been exhausted, maybe they've been awake for 18 hours, and you think as soon as they get that epidural, they're gonna crash. It actually ends up being the opposite because they're so relieved to not be in pain anymore that they may have this renewed sense of energy and chattiness. It is really important to encourage moms to rest during that time, right? Now, the excitement, the baby's gonna be coming soon, all of that is there. But the truth is, pushing is still going to take a lot of energy. And then once the baby is born, that baby needs to be taken care of after that. So it's really critical to focus on everybody resting during that time once mom has gotten pain medications. If mom is not planning on using pain medications, this is going to be the time that you are most critically needed. During this time, everything that the mom may have learned prior to birth is probably out the window because her brain is just coping with every contraction. So your job is to be there to remind her to change positions and use different tools to help cope with pain. If you want my extensive guide for what helps during what stage, check out the PDF below for my cheat sheet for what helps during which stage of labor and what to expect with unexpected turn of events and interventions. That's it for today's video. Next, we're going to be covering comfort measures, position changes, breathing techniques, and tools and tricks to use. Subscribe so you don't miss out.